Send to Brussels. We're going to speak live to our correspondent, Dave Keating, who joins us from there. Dave, what is Frost actually asking for there then? And is there any chance, I suppose, he could get it?
Well, Frost wants the existing protocol to be torn up and for negotiations to start on a new protocol. Now, this protocol was the central element, at least politically, of the Brexit divorce deal. It was the thing that solved the impasse that Theresa May's backstop deal wasn't able to. Boris Johnson came in, he opposed Theresa May's backstop deal, which would have preserved the integrity of the United Kingdom and not had any customs border between Northern Ireland and Great Britain. But that was rejected because it meant some uncertainty about whether all of the UK was going to have to follow some EU rules in the future. So Boris Johnson came in with his idea, the protocol. The protocol would separate Northern Ireland from the rest of the UK for customs checks in order to avoid a land border on the island of Ireland. But from David Frost's speech, it appears that the UK never intended to implement that protocol. Now, he insists that the UK signed this agreement in good faith, but had reservations about the protocol and that it wouldn't work. The fact is the UK never actually tried to implement the requirements of the protocol. They've been using a grace period to say they don't need to start implementing it, and actually unilaterally went ahead and said they're going to use that grace period forever. Now, what we're waiting for is to see how the EU's going to respond. But for sure, the idea of totally tearing up the protocol and rewriting it is a non-starter. Also, Frost wants no EU court jurisdiction over the protocol. In other words, the European Court of Justice would not be able to rule on matters concerning that protocol arrangement. He wants that completely gone. That is also a non-starter for the EU.
So what's the alternative then, Dave? What do we know about what might come out today about the EU's proposals?
Well, from what we've been briefed ahead of this proposal today, it is an extremely significant compromise. The EU is offering to lower checks and suspend checks for, it looks like about half of goods that would be crossing the Irish Sea between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So this includes food staples, it includes medicines, and those things would not, contrary to the original agreement, would not need to be checked. However, this is kind of tinkering around the edges of the existing protocol. It's more than tinkering, it's a really big move, but it's not actually a renegotiation of the protocol. That's what they're going to insist on. Now, even this compromise was very, very hard to get through the Commission. I'm told there was a fierce fight about this within the Commission because many people feel this is giving in to the UK's kind of bully tactics. And in terms of member states, France is furious about this. There are other countries that are furious about this as well. The diplomats are going to be discussing this today, and a lot of them are not happy about how much has been offered here in terms of a lack of checks because they're worried this is going to turn into a back door into the EU single market, a chink in the armor, if you will, because the EU will have solid borders for customs all the way around it, except this one little patch of land on the island of Ireland, the land border between Northern Ireland and Ireland, where things are going to be able to freely flow through 50% of things, let's say, from the UK to Northern Ireland. So if the UK were to sign a free trade deal with the US, for instance, that would mean the dreaded chlorinated chicken boogeyman could possibly come in through. So those kind of like inferior US products could be sneaking their way into the EU market. And that's particularly a concern for health experts. I'm told that there was the health department in the Commission that was especially concerned about this. The other thing here is it's not really clear that this is actually going to satisfy what the UK government wants because it isn't a renegotiation of the protocol. And at the end of the day, if some things need to be checked, every truck needs to be checked, right? Every ship needs to be checked because you need to check what's in the truck. So it's still not going to be the same kind of open border that exists between EU member states because there it's a one customs area. You don't need to check vehicles passing through. But in this instance, you would still need to see what's in the vehicle. You need to see if it's food or medicine or something else that does need to be declared. And so For the people, the unionists in Northern Ireland, for which this is an issue of faith, which this is a political issue, that they don't want any symbolic representation of a separation of Northern Ireland from the rest of the country, it could still not solve that symbolic problem of having a regulatory border within the United Kingdom. So we'll see what the reaction is to this today. The EU is very much presenting this as the start of a dialogue with the UK, not a done deal. This is still going to be fairly general, I'm told, what's coming out today. And then there's going to be, I think, a long period of talks between the two sides, but something has to be resolved fairly quickly because in the meantime, the border's just open.
Dave, thanks very much. Hyper complicated, but well explained as ever. Dave Keating, our correspondent there in Brussels.